Hi, my name's Vanessa. This is the story of the time I got on Lexapro, quit it cold turkey, got back on Lexapro, and then quit it cold turkey again. Yeah, I'm gonna do my makeup while I tell the story so that I have something to like do with my hands while I yap. Trigger warning, I'm gonna talk about depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-harm, medication. So if you can't handle those topics, I'm not gonna go that in depth. It's not gonna be like gruesome, okay? I went to a therapist for the first time when I was 14, between the summer of like 8th grade and freshman year of high school. Perfect time to start therapy. Mwah, brilliant. It was somewhat self-admitted because at the time I had been struggling with like eating disorders for a while. I don't think I even like really brought that up in therapy this time around though. And I was also self-harming as like a young kid. So that's the main reason why I went, is because I told my mom that I was self-harming, and that's where it led. I wasn't super like ready to go to therapy by any means. I just didn't want to like have this big secret that I felt like I was holding, because it was just making me really anxious. So this first therapist, I wasn't like super, like I was young, I was 14. I wasn't very like ready to be healthy. I was very much still just like wanting to be like a angsty teen. When I say that, that sounds like I'm undermining what I was going through. I'm really not, but I just wasn't in a place where I wanted to be healthy. My therapist really like encouraged me to like talk to new people and make new friends in high school and stuff, and so I think that was very helpful. And I did eventually I self-harmed for the last time when I was like 15 or something. So love that. And I didn't stick with this therapy for too long. It was really just like a month or two in the summer, and then I like started high school and maybe saw her like one more time, and then that was it. Definitely didn't feel like I made substantial progress like with my mindset. I was still very like, I don't know. It's also like over a decade past now, so I truly have blocked it out a bit. Like I don't really remember what went on in each session. But yeah, I was pretty young and I just wasn't really ready to like dig deep with that kind of stuff. It was more so just I wanted to admit my self-harm to my parents, and so it wasn't like this big secret I was holding. So we got that out of the way. Actually, now that I'm thinking back at the timeline of things, I really was deep in my eating disorder like freshman year of high school too. So clearly the therapy did not work very good in that regard. Like I said, I don't think I even addressed that in therapy or like to anyone at that point. So yeah, freshman year I was pretty deep in my eating disorder. I remember we had like freshman girls PE, and the girls PE teacher was really harsh, and she had us count there was like during like the health section, she had us count all of our calories for like a week, and I was like, girl, I'm an expert, I already got it. And so many girls were like wildly under eating, myself included, and she didn't like clock any of us. She was like, good job, healthy. Also, second semester of freshman year is when I went vegan, which was low-key, high-key, an excuse for me to continue my eating disorder, and just be able to eliminate all these foods without like really causing suspicion, because I could just tell everyone I'm vegan. And I was vegan, and I did like genuinely believe in the cause, and I like still do, but I'm not vegan anymore because I like of the way it impacted my eating disorder. Anyways, that's a whole other story. I'll say this, notice the timelines of when things start to get tumultuous is when big changes are coming in my life, okay? When I was going from 8th grade to high school, I freaked the fuck out, okay? And that's when I went to therapy for the first time. And then now I'm like 17 and this is my last year of high school. I have to figure out what I'm gonna do when I graduate. Hey, guess what? Let's relapse in our eating disorder, because we know how to do that. We may be uncertain of our future, but we know how to have an eating disorder, so that's what I went back to. So I'm 17, I'm a senior in high school, I'm relapsing, and I'm not gonna get into the gory details, but basically my mom catches me doing like an eating disorder action, okay? And I'm just catapulted, you know, my life is just like changed from that point. I was like, fuck, like I can't, this isn't like a secret anymore, like it's fucking out there, like really out there, and I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to address it. I'm not ready to get better. I am not sick enough in my brain to get better. Like, it's embarrassing if I go get help for this right now because I don't look sick enough. Like, all of that's going through my brain. So I was forced back into therapy again. When I was 14, it was like kind of my decision. I agreed to it this time. Obviously this time the main focus was going to be like my eating disorder, something I was really not comfortable talking about, didn't want to heal from, didn't want to address at all. You know what? I'm gonna do my eyebrows and come back because I hate doing them. I hate letting people watch me do my eyebrows. Like, that's personal. Eyebrows are done, or at least I'm giving up on them. So this second time I'm in therapy, when I'm kind of forced into it, we talk more about like my anxiety and depression, and she thinks I should get on medication, and I'm kind of like, I agree, because I've been this way since I was like a kid, and like I feel something chemically wrong like in my brain. I shouldn't feel like this. Like, I have a good happy life. Why do I feel these things? So like, yeah, whatever you want to shoot me up with, I'm down. So I get put on Lexapro when I think I'm like 18 at this point, because my birthday is in December, so I think, I don't know, 17, 18, around that time. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, I think I went to 2 therapy sessions before I dipped, because I wasn't ready to be in therapy at that point. I did stay on the Lexapro. I started it and I stuck with it and I kept taking it, and in my brain I feel like it helped me a lot. I did eventually, you know, make the switch in my brain to commit to like being healthier and like normal, and like not giving into like my eating disorder tendencies, but you know, just actually making some effort in my life and like taking some agency. And I started working on like college applications and stuff. So I kind of just fixed myself at that point. Like I said, I literally went to like 1.5 therapy sessions. I just wasn't vibing with it. It was nothing against the therapist. It was just literally, I was not in a place to like be that vulnerable and like honest with myself at that point. But you know, eventually I got myself out of it anyway, but it's gonna come back later, don't you worry. That's kind of the lesson. Like, these things, like if you never truly address them head on, like they're gonna keep returning until you really get it. So I'm on Lexapro and I'm in college now, and which honestly, like, I probably needed the Lexapro for college, let's be real, because you guys know me, you know, transitions, like changes, that's when I usually like sabotage myself. Well, I already sabotaged myself even just with the idea of going into college. That's when I like relapsed on my eating disorder and stuff. So now that I'm actually like in college doing the thing, I'm alone in a new city, I don't know anyone, I don't have any friends, Lexapro really came in clutch for those years. And you know, eliminated my anxieties around like meeting new people. I felt a lot more comfortable and like confident to talk to people in college, and a lot more comfortable just being on my own. I'm easy breezy taking my Lexapro every day for 2 years and some change, I think. And then we reached 2020. It's pandemic time, and I had moved to my college city like full time. Like, I wasn't in the dorms anymore, I'm paying rent. And also that meant I had to get like a new place where I would get my Lexapro from to like to pick it up. because I don't have like a doctor there. And I think my freshman year of college, I was still getting my Lexapro from like my hometown, because I would like come back and visit and they would give me like 3-month supply or something. So it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't that deep. But now that I'm living there full time, I was like, okay, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna get it from. I ended up getting my Lexapro from Planned Parenthood because it was the most accessible like place near me, and I was able to get it through them for like a solid, well, not quite a year, for several months with no issue. Up until one fated day in, see, I don't even remember what month it was. I think it was like June. I think it was in the summer of 2020. I go in to pick up my Lexapro. Actually, I don't even know. I think I had been like playing phone tag with them and or something. I don't know. But I was gonna go in there to like ask about it. I go in, I'm like, hey, trying to get my Lexapro, like I always do, like I have been for months. And they were like, who's your primary care doctor? I was like, primary care doctor? I don't have one of those, the fuck? No, I was like, I don't know, I haven't been to one in like a year because I just moved here and I've been getting everything through y'all. Like, I didn't know I needed one to like sign off on this. And they were like, yeah, we can't give it to you. You need to go see your primary care doctor. And I was like, hey, it's like peak COVID and it's kind of really hard to like get into a doctor right now if you're like, if you don't have COVID. So I proceeded to have a little meltdown in the Planned Parenthood lobby, because at this point I was already like a week or so off my Lexapro, I think, because like I said, there was like issues with me getting it. I was like going back and forth with them, so I was very fragile. So when they tell me, yeah, you can't get it, I just cried. I burst out sobbing in this Planned Parenthood lobby, and everyone's looking at me like I'm weird, like something's wrong with me. They're like, are you okay, ma'am? No, I'm not okay. You're withholding my medication that makes me more stable in times like this. Like, no, I'm not good. I've been off it. Like, I'm withdrawing as we speak. I have brain zaps. Like, I'm not good. So I just left because there wasn't really anything they could do for me. There's nothing that was gonna get solved. I leave and I quit Lexapro cold turkey. Not really my decision, not really a well thought out decision, kind of just one that was forced upon me. Not really. I could probably have figured out, like probably could have, you know, found a primary care doctor. I probably could have gotten it sorted. However, when you're already off your meds, it's not like you're gonna make the most sound decisions. So yeah, I was like, let me just quit. Like, I feel fine. I feel good, right? I was in such denial. That summer / fall, winter was the worst my mental health had ever been. I would lash out for like the most minor inconveniences. Everything would like send me into a panic, into a spiral. I remember I was severely addicted to my weed vape at this time. Still am a little bit, but at the time it was really bad. And I remember like if I lost my vape, I would crash like I would like punch my pillow, I would like scream, I would like throw things around trying to find it, which is like, was that like my addict brain or was that like me not being medicated? I don't know, probably both. I would cry so easily. I still cry easily. That's just like, I'm a crier, whatever. But I would just cry at the drop of the hat. Like anything would upset me. I took everything very personally. Like everything, the world was always like, everything that was happening in the world was like a directly because of me. Like, I don't know. So that winter, my mental health started getting pretty bad because, well, my mental health normally takes a dip in the winter naturally. But this time it was obviously pretty bad because I had just come off my meds. I moved out of my first living situation, which was with my college friend, and I moved in with my boyfriend at the time. and I just felt very isolated and alone and unwell. So this time I made the very conscious decision to get back into therapy. Okay, not even to go back on my meds right away. I was like, let me just go to therapy and see like what he has to say. And this is the first time in my life where therapy was really my idea. Like, yes, I agreed to it when I was 14, and very reluctantly when I was 17. I went for like 2 sessions, but this time I was like, I'm gonna go and like unpack some shit and like really put the work in, and like it's my idea and I feel good about it. So that's what I did. And I had a man therapist for the first time. My first 2 therapists were women. I'm kind of glad I had a man therapist, looking back in hindsight, because he was like my favorite therapist I've ever had too. He just really, I did more like DBT therapy this time. So it was very like actionable steps, which I think really worked for me. I, to this day, have like, don't we all, ladies, have like negative feelings towards men, and having this man therapist really helped me not view all men like that, because hey, my man therapist is the best therapist I had, and he gave me so many like useful tools, and just I felt like really good with him. So not all men, ladies. There are some good ones out there, and maybe he's a therapist. But also, like, if you have trauma surrounding men, not wanting like a male therapist totally makes sense. And like, if I were to get a therapist now, like I get wanting a female therapist, because there are so many things that like women go through that I feel like you could connect more with a woman on. But what I really needed in this therapy was to like someone to kind of get my ass in gear and like make me feel like an adult who like had agency of her life. And that's what men are good at. Sometimes men are good at giving you like concrete actionable solutions, which is what he did. So I really appreciated that, and that's what I needed. Kind of a tangent, I'm supposed to be talking about Lexapro. Anyways, he got me back on Lexapro. He helped me find a primary care doctor in my new city, which is like the biggest blessing I could have asked for. Like, just having an adult. Yes, I was an adult too, so I was totally capable of doing these things, but having an adult help me like set that up meant so much. Why am I crying? I just feel like he really saw that that was something I needed help with, and he was so right, because oh my god, once he set that up and once I got medicated again and like started feeling like myself again, I could actually like go to therapy and like be present and like listen to what he's saying and like take the steps in and like do the damn thing this time. Like, I think the antidepressants are helping a lot, honestly. Like, I haven't had a breakdown since I started taking them. I haven't had a breakdown in a while, actually, just because I've been, you know, trying to work on myself. It was a lot of just like forming like healthier habits, which is something that I never really was consistent with in the past. And this is like one of the healthiest times of my life. I was like about to graduate college. I thought I was gonna move somewhere with my ex-boyfriend. I thought we were gonna make like a really big move, so I was like excited about that. I was back on my meds. I just felt like so good during this time. I am very glad I got back on my meds, because life was about to like come for me a little bit, which it, you know, comes in waves, babe. And then, you know, it gets to the time where I like graduate college. I've been like consistently on this thing for a year. I am planning to move somewhere exciting with my boyfriend, and then hey, my boyfriend breaks up with me. There's like some turmoil there. Very shortly after that breakup, I jump into another relationship like right away, because I wasn't comfortable being alone. It was just a lot for me, because I really thought I was planning this life with this other partner. I thought we were gonna like move to like a bigger city after I graduate and like follow our dreams and all that stuff. I really thought like we were building this together, and then when it just like fell apart, I was like, fuck, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. Probably should have spent some time alone, but I didn't do that. I went right into my next relationship. And then did that for about a year, and then he broke up with me too. Woo. But I am kind of glad that I got back on my Lexapro to get through those breakups, because, you know, it's always just good to have a little boost. I don't know if I, at the time especially, could have handled those instances if I weren't medicated. My next boyfriend breaks up with me. This is in, what year are we at now? He breaks up with me in like winter of 2023. In a few months later, I get fired from my job in a very traumatic way. So it was just like back to back, bro. And like I said, glad I was medicated for those instances. So I lose my job, and eventually this leads me to moving out of my college town because I can't find a job there. I'm still taking my Lexapro during this time. I stopped therapy. When did I stop therapy? I stopped therapy before the other boyfriend broke up with me. So low-key, I should have gotten back in it probably after the breakup. And maybe that would have prevented me from just jumping straight into a relationship. It's like, girl, you should have gone back to therapy or something useful. But whatever, you live and you learn. I moved to where I'm at now, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, well, when you move, you're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna get your meds from. You're gonna have to find like a new pharmacy and stuff, because, you know, first time when you moved here, you didn't do that properly and it fucked you up. So like, what's the plan this time? Are you gonna continue taking your meds? Like, what are we gonna do, girl? And this was reaching like almost a year post breakup at this point. So I've just really been, and I've been like single and like doing the work and like not hopping right into a new relationship again this time. So I truly have spent like the past year alone, year and some change at this point. But so I was like, what do you want to do, Vanessa? You feel pretty stable. Last time you quit your Lexapro cold turkey, it went very badly, but that wasn't your choice, and life was very different then. That was years ago. You're a totally different girl now. So this time when I moved I don't even remember, like August, September of 2024, I was intentional about it. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get off my meds. I really do, because I feel like I've put in so much work this time. I've been to therapy since the last time I went off them. Those months in therapy, I learned more than I'd ever learned in the past, like in therapy, and I got so many new coping skills, and I felt just a lot more confident that I could handle being unmedicated. And this whole story is a very personal anecdotes. I do not want to encourage anybody to go off their meds. That is not the point of this. It's literally just me sharing my experience, okay? That's all. But I am not here to convince anyone to get off their meds. I think meds are wonderful. I loved being on them. They served their purpose when I was on them. And for that, I will always be grateful. And grateful that I had access to that. Not everyone has access to get the medication they need. So I'm very blessed in that way. But when I moved to this time around, I was like, let's get off of them. Let's do it. And you should probably consult a doctor and not just like make this decision yourself like I did. But hey, I did somewhat wean myself off. Like I would take I was on 10 milligrams, by the way, like this whole time. I never like went up or down, so it was always 10 milligrams. And so when I decided that I was gonna quit taking my meds, I was like, okay, I'll take like one pill every couple days. Like I kind of did wean myself off. I didn't just like take it consistently and then stop. I would like take it every 2 days and then like once a week, and then yeah, pretty much I was done. Which again isn't like probably the correct proper way to do it. You should probably consult a doctor. Doing the math now, oh my god, I didn't realize it's been this long. It's been like 6 months of me not being on Lexapro, which is crazy. I didn't realize it's been that long. I even survived the winter, which is like the most challenging time for me, so I feel like that was the true test, and I passed. So here's what I kind of realized about Lexapro. For me personally, this is how I feel. I felt like Lexapro was really good at eliminating like my physical symptoms of like my anxiety or my depression. So it would help me not feel as many like butterflies in my tummy, like that kind of anxiety. I didn't have that like feeling as much anymore. Like I said, I'm a crier, so being on Lexapro, I didn't cry as much. Not as much like tears being produced, the physical symptoms just not there as much. However, I feel like the mental was still very much like there, or it was a lot more like my like responsibility. Like I could still be really anxious in my mind, I just don't have like butterflies in my tummy, you know? I can still be really depressed, I'm just not producing tears. That's kind of what I felt like it did for me, and realizing that, I was like, okay, so you're just gonna have to maybe sit with some uncomfortable physical symptoms now that you've kind of cracked the mental a little more. Like being in therapy and all that really helped me find coping mechanisms. I've gotten deeper with like my spirituality in the past years, and just very like being in the present moment, something I've been working on. So I felt pretty confident in that regard that I could have like my mental right. I was a bit nervous about the physical symptoms at first, but honestly now that it's been 6 months, I feel like the physical symptoms aren't even as bad. Like I don't even notice myself feeling as much like anxiety in my stomach as I used to. Now that I've kind of, like in the beginning when I was feeling that in my body, I was like, you really just have to sit with it, which is so uncomfortable, but I would just sit with that feeling and be like, ooh, my body feels anxious right now. Is this like valid? Is it like helpful for me to be anxious right now, or is it like a little bit much? Is it a bit unnecessary right now? And you know, sometimes that feeling is like necessary. It's like trying to protect you. So don't be mad at it. Don't be mad at your body for like having butterflies. I would just kind of sit with it and be like, okay, body, I know you're feeling this, but like we're just about to go to work, and like we go to work all the time, so we don't need to be feeling this right now. And once you do that, eventually it gets a lot easier. I will say this, one big reason I am really glad to be off my meds is because of this one side effect, which I'm sure not everyone experiences on Lexapro, but this was the worst one for me. I didn't really experience other symptoms except this one, which was the most vivid, horrifying nightmares. Every single night, pretty much. I almost feel like I was banking my anxiety, like since I was like numbing it out during the day with my Lexapro, it was all showing up to me in my dreams. I was constantly having like school stress dreams, like I'm late on an assignment, or I totally like missed a college credit and they're sending me back to elementary school to complete the credit. Like, oh my god, I got those all the time. Or just like stress work dreams, like I'm running late to work, or I'm in trouble at work. All this stuff. I had dreams of my partners cheating on me, dreams of my partners doing awful things to me, or dreams about like my exes, you know, being dubious. I don't fucking know. I just was always having stressful, awful nightmares. I can't even like fully describe some of these nightmares. Like they were like almost just like mind altering. Like it was exhausting. I would wake up every morning exhausted, like, oh my god, I just lived 17 lives. I just gave birth in my dream, and then I was reborn, and I didn't super realize that they were attributed to Lexapro because, you know, as a child I had pretty vivid dreams, but it was less about the vividness and more like the contents. Like they were always just like I'm at school or work, or something's going wrong, someone's cheating on me. But once I stopped my Lexapro, those dreams have pretty much gone away entirely, for the most part. I do still get a dubious dream every once in a while, but they are way less frequent. You literally used to get them nightly. Now it's like maybe once a month. So I just feel so much more well rested. For one, like I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't have to fight for my life in my sleep last night. Like, that's awesome. Again, if Lexapro is really helpful to you and worth like the side effects, don't go off of it. But if you feel like you're in a good place and you're having like I don't know, if anyone else has like dealt with Lexapro nightmares, let me know, because shit gets crazy. That's where I'm at today. Never say never. I might go back on meds someday, I don't know, but at the moment I feel pretty good, pretty stable. But yeah, that's the story. That's the experience I had quitting Lexapro cold turkey twice. Very different experiences each time. I encourage you so much, if you are struggling, to seek help. It might take your third therapist for you to really vibe with, unfortunately. But don't give up. There's help out there. Yeah. And stay on your beds if they're working for you, and if they're not working, try something else. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. This is just my story. Okay. I'm about at goodbyes. Bye.